Hey guys, Rod Reverend here. We've got an ECG 272 core V8 engine that we're going to disassemble and inspect. We're here for part number 2. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll leave a link in the description below. A lot of things here on the playlist that we have on the Y block, also on my website, hotrodreverend.com. Now, let me grab the camera and we'll go take a look at this ECG block. In episode number 1, we removed the valve covers, just a couple of pieces here and there. The rocker arm assemblies are really good shape, the push rods. You want to say this as we go through this process. One of the things I like to do is to remove as many pieces of hardware that I can while different portions of the block are bolted to the short block. That would mean intake manifold. Take off as much as you can because these things get a little bit of fun to deal with when they're just loose on your workbench. You got it here on the engine. If everything's still bolted together, you got something to keep that part still. And for instance, I'll take off the thermostat housing, I'll take off all these little pieces here, I'll even take off the studs for the carburetor. Boy, even the spark plugs that are there, they're a whole lot easier to take off, especially if you got any rust, you got any corrosion or anything. A little bit easier to deal with if everything's still bolted to the short block. So now the Y block has what's called a crankshaft damper. If you look at it in the shop manual, that's what it's called. Some of it's called dampener. You're going to need a puller that looks something like this. As you can tell here, we're just going to screw these bolts into the 2 holes that are there. This piece right here will keep us from damaging the threads inside the crank snout. And this is just really just a press fit for the pulley that's on the crankshaft snout. Let's get this hooked up and we'll take it off. You really don't need to go mega tight with this, but you certainly want it to where it's pretty well straight and plumb, and you got several threads in there, and also that both of your bolts are pretty much the same depth. That way things don't get cockeyed. So my puller here, I've got a 5/8" head. Now I've got really just a breaker bar and 5/8 socket here. It's going to tighten this. As you do so, that pulley, that damper, you see it sliding off right there. It's not as tight as I thought it would be. If you take this off, it'll get a little bit more loose each time you make a rotation. But you can't get your motor mount off until you take off your crankshaft damper. It's just the way it is. A little bit better shot of it here. And there we go. You can tell that's got a lot of wear. Man, I could feel that with a fingernail. Now the question comes up, is this worth saving? And one of the things about these crankshaft dampers over the years is that the rubber insulator, see how it's cracked right there? These things will dry out, they'll separate. Let me show you what one looks like when it separates. This is the other core I got. You can tell it's a little bit cattywampus. This one here has separated. And in the video, we'll take this apart. I'll show you what that thing looks like. But basically, the rubber's given way and the front part, the pulley itself, is just separated from what attaches to the crank. One other thing to note, Ford made 2 different styles of the timing pointer. This one here, you can see it's got the degrees measured out for you, a little bit better than what you'd have from a mid-50s Ford. So this is one of the later ones. But Ford also had one where it just had top dead center marked on here, and then your timing pointer would have the degrees on that sheet metal pointer that would attach to your timing cover. 2 different ways of looking at the timing marks on your crankshaft damper. Just make sure you got the right ones. You obviously want the timing pointer that matches whatever crankshaft damper you're using. So the question comes up, do you save this? I might. This is okay. There are companies that can rebuild these and get you a new insulator in here. There are companies that make these just brand new outright. I'll leave a couple links in the description below. Before we take off the motor mount, just a couple things to note. You got 1, 2, 3 that are 9/16 head. This is a 1/2 inch head. Don't be confused by that. You've got 1/2 inch over here, 1/2 inch over here as well. Ford had a couple different size heads. Call me old school. I know I can take an impact to this and just get stuff. I'll just, hey, ratchet, socket, wrenches. I like doing that because I can feel whether or not something's stripped, or there's any kind of problem at all. I get it. Some guys, they'll just go to town, zip, zip, zip. And that's fine. But I don't know, just old school. Threads look pretty good, nice and clean. Just checking everything out when you pull it out of there, but that's more than reusable. Clean up nice. And there we go. One very good motor mount. Some guys that build hot rods, they like these too. This is a good thing to save no matter what. So we're going to set this aside, clean it, blast it, and paint it. Now we also removed some of the junk here. I do have some gloves on, but that's so I can get the camera, keep it clean, my hands and different things. Kind of speeds up the process. But anyway, we're just going to chuck this, throw it away, scrap. All right, now to get to what everybody really hates, and that's taking the distributor out. So we're going to go ahead and pull all the brackets for the spark plug wires, pull the spark plug wires, the cap. We'll pull off this hold down bolt and this little clamp right here. These things sometimes are hard to find. They get gone. Guys are always looking for them, but pieces of hardware like that are really good to save. These will clean up nice. Now you can save these brackets. They'll clean up just fine. You can get just a set of rubber insulators if you're on a budget and want to save yourself some money. Not that big of a deal. There is one hold down that has a 9/16 head for the bolt that secures it to the cylinder head, and that's right here by your distributor. That's because Y-block heads can flip back and forth, and technically if I were to flip this around, it would be the front end where the coolant port's at. And that's a little bit larger bolt than the rest of them. Now, I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but the way these things come apart is just kind of a spring-loaded job to get yourself a pair of channel locks. Squeeze that together right there. You see how that just kind of pops right off and exposes that rubber insulator. And again, there's really nothing wrong with these. These clean up really well in a blast cabinet. If you want to polish them, put some media in a vibratory tumbler, whatever, they'll come out nice, look sharp, and last forever. Now for the big reveal. Will this distributor spin? Let's find out. Odds are it won't. Whoa, easy. I can't believe it. Man, a lot of times these things get seized up, but that should pull right out of there. And sure enough, it did. I did not expect that. This is a Load-O-Matic, and I'm going to show you how I know that here in just a minute. Some of it's just handle it, but the size of the distributor cap kind of gives it away. All right, so when I pop this off, what you're going to see is the springs for the distributor plate for the advance. If you can see those springs when you pop off your cap, this is a Load-O-Matic vacuum advance only. This does not have a lot of wear on the rotor, and it looks that way inside the cap too. Of course, outside it looks pretty rough. How much play there is. Wow, there's almost no play at all. The bushing's in really good shape. I'll go ahead and keep this as this is a nice core. Hey, that went better than planned. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit this intake manifold and take off anything that's bolted to it, get the clamps on everything else, but we're going to take off the spacer, any kind of fittings and everything else. So let's do that next. This bolt's giving way a little bit. You can see all the corrosion. This is going to be a mess right here. This could be interesting. All right, I got the driver's side loose. Small little breaker bar, and there went that bolt. You can see that we knocked off the head pretty easily. Typically, that's a blind hole in the intake manifold, not open to the coolant, so you don't have to put sealant on these threads. So, wonder why these are so rusty. Not quite sure. So, on the phenolic spacer, tap it, get that thing a little loose. These things are easy to break, so you want to kind of be careful with them. And there we go, there's our spacer. Now, it's important to use this on a Y block because what happens is you get even distribution. If you don't have provision for this for your carburetor, use one of these. That's a 1/2-inch port, and you can plumb it from the back, maybe from your valve covers, something baffled. Probably tell, you can see that slot right there. That's going to feed both barrels. You want even distribution. Some guys like to use the port in the back. If you do that with your crankcase breather fumes, you're only going to feed those back runners. That's it. You won't feed the front. You want to get even distribution. Spark plugs are going to look weird. Not going to be great with fuel economy and all the rest of that. So you want even distribution, plumb it the right way. One more tip on these phenolic spacers. I like to put these in the ultrasonic cleaner. I know ultrasonic cleaners get the grease or grime off, but if you got any gasket material, ultrasonic cleaner work really well to loosen that up. It'll just pull right off instead of having to take stuff, scrape it off, spend all that extra time. Just throw it right in the ultrasonic cleaner. For these studs, PB Blaster, everybody's got their own favorite juice, favorite elixir. I'm still kind of old school with this little trick right here. Just double nuts and take off each stud. Works like a charm. There are times I will have to use some heat, but not right now. I think we're good. But these studs come in handy. Okay, before we remove the intake manifold, I'm interested to know what's behind this timing cover. So we're going to remove the timing cover and see what the chain and sprockets look like. Now, these can be a little bit of a chore to get off if it's been on there for a long time. Use a chisel, light hammer. Don't go near the tabs, but go behind the meat. You'll be able to get it loose. Break away from the gaskets. Let's find out what we have. That sucker's really loose. On both sides. Look at that. For the sake of time, I'm going to wait and weld a nut to the rest of this bolt that broke off right there later on. I'm going to heat these up too, but I want to go ahead and take off the intake manifold and the valley pan as well so we can get a look at what's inside the valley. Now, obviously, because this has been modified, this is not a valley pan I'm going to be saving. Someone's welded up something to this. Look pretty rough. We'll get this off of here. Lots of silicone to keep this sealed up over the years. I'm going to clean this up before we take a really good solid look. Okay, what you can tell is that there is going to be one cylinder that's going to have water in it, and that's right here. And I believe that's going to be cylinder number 2. that bottom runner feed cylinder number 2 right here. So this is going to be the one that gives us trouble when we pull the heads off, I think. But so far everything looks okay. You never can tell. Sometimes at the valley pan you find extra push rods people have lost over time. But so far so good. And we'll get to the heads and the rotating assembly, oil pan. Remove the old flywheel for the torque converter in part 3. That'll probably be our last installment here of looking at this Y block. Guys, that's a wrap for part number 2 here on tearing down the ECG 272 block, and hopefully part 3 we'll get it all done. Let's take a look at all the parts that we've got. There is a separate stash I'm keeping of stuff we're scrapping, things that are no good to keep, other things of course that we want to keep, clean up, we'll use again, maybe even on the 342 build, I don't know. Guys are always needing parts. But anyway, so far so good. We'll see what it takes to get this thing freed up. And it's obviously cylinder number 2 that has the problem. So guys, stick around here on the channel, search through the playlist. Got a lot of stuff on the Y block mid-50s Fords. And then also want to encourage you to join us for Wednesdays in the Word. Each Wednesday we drop a 15-minute or so Bible study. I am the Hot Rod Reverend. There's a reason why I have that name. I hope you'll check it out on the website and here on the YouTube channel. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one.